So the result analysis. So we take a look at a record here. There's a lot of information in this guy. And you can tell whom it's registered with. It'll give you some insight as to what kind of controls they may have and things like that, how long it's been around, all kinds of info that we just talked about. So who is lookup tools? You can just go who is space in the domain in Google, so that's one. And then there's a whole bunch more that you can get right here that may pull in other information. So who is Analyzer Pro, look up multiple addresses, so you can do multiple searches at once instead of having to script it in Google, something like that. And then they have more of them, so that's going to continue. So here we go, DNS stuff. And I'm surprised they didn't list DNS tools in here, because that's a big one too. Okay. Who is lookup tools for mobile? So we have DNS tools, Ultra Tools Mobile, who is lookup tool. Just about anything you can find on your PC, you can find on a mobile space now. There's some kind of an app that'll give you at least some limited functionality. So DNS footprinting, extracting DNS information. An attacker can gather DNS information to determine key hosts in the network and can perform social engineering attacks. So over on the right, we have DNS records provide important information about location and type of servers. Well, yes and no. The DNS can be on the East Coast and the servers can be in China. So really it doesn't give you geographic location. DNS interrogation tools, so DNS stuff and network-tools.com. Both of these are good. And then over on the left, we have A records. So this you're going to see test questions about. You will definitely see one on the A and the MX and the NS and probably the CNAME as well. So definitely A, MX, NS, and CNAME will be on the test. Maybe even the PTR, and that's probably it. And other follow-on courses that you'll take, you will see one about the text record as well, unstructured text records. So the A points to the, what do you need to know about this? Timber, you're telling me this is on the test, well, what do I need to know? What you need to know is that an A record, so that we have the record type, an A record points to host's IP address. An MX record, or mail exchanger, points to the domain's mail server. The name server, or NS, points to the host's name server. And then the CNAME, the canonical naming, allows aliases to a host, so you can have a bunch of aliases point to it. And then we talked about the unstructured text record below. Extracting DNS information. So we have the domain dossier and then the DNS lookup. There's many of these as well. So there's also command line tools, dig and NS lookup. Those are the ones from the command line. You need to know how those work. You'll need to know them for the test, and we'll probably talk about them in a minute. So dig, there it is, dig. You need to know dig. And NS lookup is another one you'll need for the test. Not DNS lookup, NS lookup. It's a command line tool. Locate the network range. So network range information. So let me just go back to this one for 1 second. So for the test, they are going to ask you, it's probably something hidden in the lab somewhere. They're going to ask you tools about NS lookup and dig. They're StarNext commands, so make sure that you play around with them and know them. If you're using Windows, make sure that, I think there's an NS lookup for Windows, but I'm not sure about a dig. So anyway, get a VM installed. You can use VirtualBox, which is free to install any kind of StarNext, and then play around with those dig and NS lookup tools. Make sure you look at the help and know how they work. Locate the network range. Network range information assists attackers to create a map of the target network. Find the range of the IP addresses using ARIN, Whois database search tool. So you can also find the range of IP addresses and the subnet mask using the target organization from the RIRs, the Regional Internet Registries. I keep telling you that because you're going to see a test question about that. The Regional Internet Registry, the RIR, you will see a test question about that. Most of you will. Okay, so traceroute, another tool you need to know and be familiar with. You will be asked many questions on this. Traceroute programs works on the concept of ICMP protocol and use the TTL field in the header of ICMP packets to discover the routers on your path to target host. So you do a trace route to see what route it's taking to the host. So you'll see it traverse from your first hop, which is your router, and then it'll go to your ISP's router and then out to the internet and then back down to the host. So the way this works is, you see this TTL value? Every time it hits a device, the device will decrement that count, and it'll send a packet back to the original requester, okay? So it'll decrement that TTL every single time it crosses a hop. If at any time it reaches 0, it's dropped. It goes no further. So if you set a TTL to 1, it's only going to hit your router, and then that router will drop. If you set the TTL to 2, it may hit your router and then the ISP router, and then it'll get dropped. So you can kind of play around with that, okay? So make sure you're familiar with this and make sure you understand that every time it crosses a device, it decrements it by 1. That's how it works. So the TTL will be -1, -2, -3, -4. Every time it goes out, makes a hop, and then that device will also send back, hey, I got your message. Hey, I got your message. Hey, I got your message, as the TTL is dropping. So there you go. This is how it works.